and they were absolutely terrible on affordability. Remember, I got here, my first day, the fake news is screaming at me, what about affordability? I'm only here one day. Remember, eggs were up about 5 times higher than they ever were. And we have prices are coming down right now at levels that you've never seen. And now with oil crashing, you're going to see something really amazing. And to top everything else, they let 25 million people into our country, many of them criminals and thugs and people from mental institutions and drug dealers. They even let 11,888 murderers into our country. Murderers, 11,888, more than 50% of which have killed more than one person. And I've gotten the worst of them out. We've gotten them out, Tom Homan and our whole group of people. But the Democrats want open borders, and they want them all to come back in. You can imagine that. The people of this Commonwealth will never let that happen again. What they allowed to happen to our country, we can never allow to happen again. As an example, the war with Russia and Ukraine would have never, ever started of our president. We can never let elections get rigged again. But we're pleased to be joined today by one of those Pennsylvanians who's benefiting from the historic tax cuts, Sergeant Sam Elias, with the Bethlehem Police Department, who's a great guy. Ooh, they know him. Sam works the night patrol so that he can help his wife take care of their 6 beautiful children during the day. And I'm told their youngest is named Melania. Can you believe that? They named Melania. Where did you come up with that one? After our great First Lady. So Sam is taking home thousands of dollars extra because of no tax on overtime. And Sam, do you want to come up and say a few words? Come on up. Come on up, Sam.
Thank you for all you do. Thank you. Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. I'd like to express my appreciation to President Trump, Congressman Ryan McKenzie, and the entire White House administration. As a father of 6 children in a single-income household, I can tell you the Working Families Tax Cuts is a policy that helps my family. Hard work should pay off, not get punished with higher taxes. No tax on overtime, no tax on tips means more money in the pockets of working Americans. For my family, these savings have translated to what was once a day trip to the park, is now an overnight stay at the Jersey Shore. Bigger tax returns have allowed Americans to create new family memories and save for future projects. As the President said, I also work night shift as a police sergeant in the fine city of Bethlehem. Thank you. A shortage in police recruitment has left our department depleted of officers. Our officers get called out for overtime to cover these shortages. Some pay periods, officers are working over 40 hours of overtime. That's why I'm grateful for no tax on overtime. Thank you, Mr. President. I'm also thankful for the support President Trump and Congressman McKenzie have shown for law enforcement. You understand that communities thrive when we invest in public safety. Congressman McKenzie has stood strong with public safety and working families. And that's why he's been endorsed by the brothers and sisters of Bethlehem FOP Star Lodge 20. Congressman McKenzie has been on the front lines in supporting public safety. He secured $700,000 for the Bethlehem Police Department for much-needed technology and equipment upgrades at our police department, along with bringing home $1.6 million in funding for volunteer firehouses and infrastructure. Thank you, Congressman. I'm a very grateful American, a son to Lebanese immigrants who came to the United States 50 years ago in pursuit of the American dream. My 80-year-old father is here with me today. He would often tell me, work hard and it'll pay off. Well, 50 years later, thanks to President Trump and Congressman McKenzie, my father's dream has come true. I thank you for that. Thank you. Additionally, thank you to President Trump and your entire administration. After more than 50 years, the Lebanese people finally have an American ally who advocates for a sovereign and independent Lebanon governed by the Lebanese people. Thank you for that. Mr. President, you have the support of almost 20 million Lebanese people worldwide. Leadership is more than a title, it's action. I'm grateful for the actions coming from President Trump and Congressman Ryan McKenzie. Your actions have prioritized the American dream. Less taxes, safer communities, and America First policies. I thank you, President Trump. Happy belated birthday, and happy birthday to the United States of America. Thank you, and God bless. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you very much. You know, I just looked at all these pages. I said, oh, we're in trouble. But you know what? That was good. That was a good job. I was a little worried when I saw the pages after page. Very good. Great job. Sam, where's your father? Hello, Pop. How are you? Got a good boy. Got a good boy. Yeah, taking care of your people. So our administration is also delivering one historic win after another for another group that works a lot of overtime, and that's our great auto workers. We have a lot of auto workers in here today. But just as I promised, the UAW workers, and we did great with them, you know, Republicans, I don't know, for whatever reason, they don't do like I do. But in the campaign, I ended Biden's insane electric vehicle mandate, that crazy mandate, which meant that in a short while, all cars had to be all electric, and many of them would be built in China and others in foreign countries all over the world. That's what was going to happen, and I stopped that. I ended it in my first week in office. I ran on it. And you know what? If you like electric cars, I think that's great. I wouldn't say Elon was thrilled with what I did, but he understood that. But if you like electric cars, I think it's great, but you have to have the right to buy a regular, I mean, we have more gasoline than any country anywhere in the world if you want to have gas. If you want to have a hybrid, you can have whatever the hell you want, including electric. But I terminated Biden's disastrous fuel emission standards that would have crushed Mack Trucks. Mr. Roy, your company would be crushed if I didn't do that. You wouldn't be bidding on anything, neither would anybody else. It was the most insane environmental regulations ever conceived of by man. It was totally unreasonable and ridiculous. And you can sell trucks for much less money that are now much better trucks that work, that actually work. And we made interest on auto loans, fully tax deductible, but only if you buy a car that is made in the USA. Otherwise, we're not interested. Otherwise, we're not interested. And I saved the auto manufacturing business in America. We have more auto plants being built today than we've had in 60 years, and I think maybe ever. And bigger and better. They had a big one in a certain state that I love also. I love a lot of places. And they took out this old plant, but it was big. And I said, did you redo it yet? They said, we're not redoing it. We're ripping down and building a brand new one, a beauty. You know the one I'm talking about, David. But we're pleased to be joined today by Pat McHugh, a Marine Corps veteran, a great guy, who spent 28 years with Mack Trucks. And he leads the cab assembly and serves as new product line launch leader. It's a big deal. And Pat's grandfather worked here, his dad worked here, and now his son is working here and doing well. And they know how important it is to keep manufacturing jobs in Pennsylvania. Pat, say a few words, please.
Thank you, Mr. President. Wow. Good afternoon, Mr. President. It is a profound honor and privilege to have you here with us today to help celebrate the upcoming 250th birthday of our America. And most recently, our 125th anniversary of building Mack Trucks. My name is Patrick McHugh Jr., and I am a proud Marine Corps veteran. In addition to that, though, I am an even prouder Mack Truck employee. Standing here with me today is my father and my son, both Mack Truck workers. Together, they have a combined 78 years working experience building the greatest trucks on earth. You can say Mack Trucks runs in our blood. At Mack Trucks, we work hard to build the trucks that help build America. And we are proud that those trucks are built in the United States of America. Along with our UAW colleagues, we're open for business, and we're producing the best quality trucks we ever have. On behalf of our entire team, we warmly welcome you to our plant, Mr. President, home of the finest trucks in America, built by the most skilled and dedicated workforce in the trucking industry. So, Mr. President, I want to say thank you for choosing to highlight Mack Trucks on your visit today, and thank you for supporting our American workforce. Thank you, Mr. President.
Well, thank you, Pat. That's a good family. That's a great family. Great people. They're proud of your company. I want to also thank two people, very special people, because I know them and I know what they do, and it's not easy, but they've done a great job. David Durgan and Timothy Herzog of the UAW committee. Where are you guys? Thank you. They do a good job representing you. Ease up just a little bit so they can get the contract, okay? Just a little bit. Thank you, fellas. Get this congressman elected. That's what you got to do. But we're pleased to be joined also by Labor Secretary Keith Sonderling. Keith, where are you, Keith? Where's Keith? Hi, Keith. Good job. Is he treating you guys good? Is he all right? He better treat you good. A very special guy, somebody that everybody wanted. I have to tell you, everybody wanted him. He's some person. He was actually an astronaut. He went out, he made a lot of money because he's smart. And he's now the NASA administrator. You saw that rocket 2 months ago up and go around the moon in record levels, the furthest any ship has ever flown, and come back. And he's working very heavily on the moon. But what he's done with NASA is amazing. and he's a very special person and a brilliant one, Jared Isaacman. Jared, thank you. Great job. As well as, I introduced him a little bit only by the name David, because he knows me, and I know him by David. But David McCormick is your senator, and he's a brilliant person, brilliant businessman. And he loves the Commonwealth. He loves Pennsylvania, and this is where he wanted to be. And he had I told you, he had a rough fight. This is a rough beating, like 24 years, and a father for 24 years. I don't know. I said, I don't know. You sure you know what you're doing, David? But you won, and you won easily. And I'll tell you what, you have a great senator, one of the best in the country. So I just want to thank you very much, David. Thank you. And 4 warriors for Pennsylvania in Congress. These are warriors. Lloyd Smucker is here. Lloyd, thank you. Thank you. John Joyce is here. John, thank you. Dan Muser is here. Thank you. And these guys are all in good shape, but we got to get Ryan McKenzie elected. We got to get Ryan. I'm not here for them. I'm here for him. We got to get Ryan elected. Run up here, Ryan, fast. Nobody wants to hear you. Come on, just run up. Nobody wants to hear you, Ryan. Do what David did. He'd go up for 1 minute. Thank you very much, everybody. It's nice to be here. And everybody thought he was the greatest speaker. Okay. Say a few words.
Absolutely. Well, Mr. President, I can't thank you enough for coming here to the Lehigh Valley, highlighting the great men and women of Mack Trucks, doing all the work that you do in Washington, D.C. for our veterans, our first responders, and everybody across this country to continue to maintain America as the greatest country in the world. You are the president that is fighting for all Americans. Thank you for being here, sir. Thank you, sir. Great job. Thank you for being
here. That's great. Wow, that's great. He learned something from you, David, huh? That's great. We also have one of the greatest writers anywhere in the country who knows more about the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, I think, than anybody. She's a terrific person. Right from the beginning, she said Trump is going to win, therefore I like her. She said Trump is going to win in 2015. In fact, she wrote an article in 2014. She said this guy Trump should run. I hadn't thought too much about it. I was having a lot of fun putting up buildings, but she was very early on, and I really mean it. I don't think there's anybody that knows more about. They used to call it the Rust Belt. I call it the Money Belt now. It's gone from the Rust Belt to the Money Belt. Either one is okay, but there's nobody that knows more about it than Selena Zito. She's fantastic. Where are you, Selena? Where are you, Selena, with your beautiful daughter? Thank you, Selena. Selena's an incredible woman, and her daughter is following in her footsteps. She's just been so good. Very powerful writer, actually. Some of the biggest papers in the world. It's nice to have good stories on occasion, truthful stories. Thanks as well to the president of the NRA who's here with me, Bill Bockenberg. Bill, stand up. And they always give me their endorsement because I saved the Second Amendment, and you think it's easy. On occasion, it was not easy, right, Bill? But we did it. We did it with your help. And we're doing a couple of other things, working with you and your people. But I think you've done a fantastic job. The NRA, everybody, they really have been. They've been with me right from the beginning. And Bill asked me, would I support the national right to carry legislation? How do you feel about national right to carry? That's my free poll. You know what that is? That's a free poll. I don't have to pay $300,000 to somebody that doesn't even do polling, you know, to give you phony numbers. See, those are real numbers. National right to carry. Yeah, we're working on it. And we have a very special guest who you just saw on the highest rated fight show ever in the history of television, the UFC Freedom 250. So this guy, well, I just have to set it up a little bit if I don't mind. Because I'm thinking, I'm a similar size. I weigh more than he does, actually. So therefore, I have a tremendous physical advantage over him. His muscles are slightly harder and slightly younger. He's a lot younger. But I think I can do it because I'm a great athlete. He knows I'm a very good golfer. And I'm much better off on the golf course against him than I'm on the wrestling, man. But he went virtually undefeated. I mean, he won 4 years. He was the top wrestler. His friend, Tony, who's another champion, I'll introduce you to, Tony. But these two guys were on the Penn State team. And Bo Nickel went, you couldn't defeat the guy. And then he had every battle. I guess he was a 3 or 4 time All-American. But then he turned pro and he went to the UFC. Did you find them tougher? Yes, a little different. A little different. But he's won just about everything. But he had a big fight last week with a lot of pressure, with the White House in the background. And he's a guy that I like. I met him a while ago. I looked at the ears. I said, man, this guy's a fighter. You can tell a lot by the ears. And he told me, no, he doesn't mind the ears. He likes them. It's almost a symbol. For great fighters, it's a symbol. That's why I'm worried about you, Tony. You have pretty normal ears. But I got to know Bo a little bit, and I got to root for him. And I almost felt like his father up there. His father's great, but I felt like his father, so I was nervous for the fight. And he was fighting somebody that Dana White, the great Dana White, he's a phenomenal guy. He said, no, Bo's got a tough one tonight. I said, why? Why do you do that to him? Because if you lose at this night, it was the biggest audience they've ever had, by far. The whole world watched it. The people at the White House, we had 5,000 seats around the cage we built, and we had 100,000, more than 100,000 people in the park right next door. We had the largest television audience they've ever had, by far. They said, why do you have to give him such a tough opponent? He was pretty tough. But then it happened. So Bo is known as a great wrestler because he was the best wrestler by far in college. Nobody could beat him. And I figured Bo would be wrestling. But no, he wasn't wrestling. He was punching. I said, Bo, grab his legs and start wrestling. That's what you do. But he didn't do that. He didn't listen to me. And he got a shot off that was brutal. And in the first round, right, knocked him out. He was really knocked out. Great fighter. The guy was a great fighter, is a great fighter. So I just want to thank, he's from Penn State. He loves Penn State. He is the NCAA wrestling champion. And just fantastic. And his friend, and you probably know, is also, I think you were roommates, right? That's a tough room. I wouldn't want to fight these two guys. Let's go pick on those two guys. I don't think so. But he was the heavyweight. And he lost a lot of weight. He weighed 35, 40 pounds. I asked him, how much did you wrestle? About 40 pounds heavier. In other words, you want to live, right? You decide to lose it. But he was also the champion, NCAA champion, and his name is Anthony Cassar. So come up here, fellas, because I want to just ask the audience a question. Come here. Come here, Bo. So here's my question. If I work out for the next couple of months, really work hard, lifting those weights, and really, really work, could I beat Bo or Anthony in wrestling? You're very disloyal. You're very disloyal. Say a couple of words about your fight. Appreciate it.
Wow, what an honor to be here. I think walking up here, I was almost as nervous as the fight, but it feels like a fight. Yeah, it feels like it, but this is exciting. I'm grateful to be here with everybody. So grateful to President Trump for making an event that, in my mind, never seemed possible happen. UFC Freedom 250 on the White House lawn. Unbelievable. I don't think there are too many presidents that have the courage to do something like that, and, just so unbelievable. For me, both my parents were high school teachers. My dad was a wrestling coach. My grandpa was a wrestling coach, and I grew up around sports and just competing from 5 years old. And so to be able to do something like that is a dream come true. And it's just through hard work, effort, discipline, and a lot of time in the wrestling room, a lot of time in the cage that I was able to do that. And that's really because America is the land of opportunity. And if you set your mind to something and you feel passionate about what you do, you can accomplish anything. And thank you. I don't want to take too much time, but I want to tell a quick story about the first time I met President Trump. It was in 2019 at the White House, and our team and I won the Nationals, the NCAAs, and at Penn State we are. Let's go. And we were given the opportunity to meet President Trump, and it was really special because he took a lot of extra time to talk with us as wrestlers. I think he respected the wrestlers a lot, and I told him that when I'm done wrestling, I was going to fight, and he asked me if I needed a manager. And I thought that he has better things to do than that. But really, since then, I feel like we've had a special connection that I'm extremely grateful for. And, you know, fast forward 7 years, I'm fighting on the White House lawn, and I turn and look at my corner, and President Trump is right next to him. And so it really felt to me like he was in my corner. I know that was something that was just so special, and I feel like just incredibly grateful. And overall, the whole week of the experience, everything, the word that kept coming to mind and the emotion that I kept feeling was gratitude. And I'm grateful for President Trump, grateful for all my friends and family and supporters, and I'm grateful to be an American, and it's the best country on earth, and God bless you all.
How's everybody doing? This is an awesome crowd. I'll keep this really short. It's just an honor to be here. Bo and I have been roommates since our freshman year at Penn State and never could have imagined this, but it's an honor to support Mr. President, this great nation, and the American workers that build the foundation of the United States of America. So as a small business owner, real estate investor, I just want to thank President Trump for the big, beautiful bill, all he's done for small business owners. And most importantly, I pray that God will continue to bless him and guide him to lead this great nation. And God bless all of us. Thank you.
Two great champions. That's great. It's good to have them here, too. We have a lot of champions in the audience. These are two very special people. When you do that, I was saying to myself, you know, going into that ring and you got all these people, we had the richest and the biggest politicians. We had the biggest of everything. You couldn't get a ticket. The tickets were selling for some crazy numbers, I heard. We gave them away to everybody, but somehow some got out. And I was saying that's a tremendous amount of pressure, and you're fighting the toughest people on earth. I mean, these are the strongest, toughest men on earth. No women in the crowd, but which is nice. But these are the toughest men on earth, and it's tremendous pressure. And you know, the muscles, you got the muscles, you guys, you got the big, strong muscles, but you got this muscle too, because it takes much more than just the normal muscle to win those matches. I mean, the strategy and the genius that goes into it. It is a genius. A lot of people wouldn't understand that. But there's a genius. There's a genius in sports. But there's a great amount of courage and power that you have that a lot of other people don't have. So congratulations. Really, great job. Great job. Good to have you here. In everything we do, we're once again fighting for the people of Pennsylvania, and that includes our amazing Pennsylvania oil and gas workers. And I ended last administration's war on Pennsylvania energy, and I signed an order to drill, baby, drill. That's what we did. Right, David? And you helped. The United States is now the #1 producer of oil and gas on earth, larger than Russia and Saudi Arabia combined by a lot. Think of that. Who would have thought that? We were in 4th place. Now we're larger than, and that doesn't include Venezuela. Include Venezuela once, because it's essentially should be included. I also ended the war on clean, beautiful Pennsylvania coal. In fact, in my administration, you're not, because you know coal was dead. China uses it. Other countries, very successful countries, use it. the unsuccessful countries use wind, those beautiful windmills that blow around and round and don't do anything except cost you money. Every time it goes around, you lose $10. It's supposed to make money with energy, not lose money. No, wind is every country that's using wind is a disaster. Every country that's using our beautiful substances from underground are doing very nicely, thank you. But in my administration, you're not allowed to say the word coal without preceding that word with the words clean, beautiful. So you say clean, beautiful coal. And I have Secretary of the Interior, Doug Burgum, who's fantastic, and Chris Wright, and they made a speech about coal, and they mentioned coal like 50 times in the speech. It's all about coal. And they kept saying, clean, beautiful coal, clean, beautiful coal. I said, no, it's enough. It's enough. But we're not allowed to use the word coal without saying, because what they can do with coal today is amazing. It is clean, it is beautiful, they can clean it, and it's a very powerful form of energy. And if you look at China, they're building 57 coal plants throughout, big monster plants all over their country. And then we're not supposed to do that? No, we're doing that. Clean, beautiful coal. We've invested over $1 billion to save dozens of coal mines. We've saved them. They were ready to close, and some had closed. And more than 100 coal power plants, including the Keystone and the Conemaugh generating stations, right here in Pennsylvania, as you know, are really moving now and employing a lot of people. They were all getting ready to close up. They were essentially closed. We're working hard to lower the cost for all consumers, and we want powerful energy. Under my administration, the most favored nation agreements on drug prices that we just did are delivering the largest prescription drug price cuts in history, with numbers like 400, 500, and even a 600% reduction from where it was. Think of that. That alone should win us the midterm. And the fake news back there refuses to talk about it because they know how good it is, because they can't produce it. They've been trying to do it for years. Favored nation. We paid the highest drug price in the world by far. As an example, for the fat drug, which Bo and Tony don't need to take, but a lot of people are taking. Who takes the fat drug? So in New York, think of it, it was costing a fortune. Many, many times it was costing $1,300. And in London, it was $87. And a friend of mine who's extremely fat, sloppy, but very brilliant. He's a brilliant businessman, but he's a slob. There's no question about it. Very neurotic person, which you need sometimes to be successful. But he called me up. He used to call me Donnie. Donnie! Now he calls me Mr. President. That's a sign of great respect. But he said, President, I just came over here and I bought, I won't say Ozempic or whatever the hell it was, but I bought the fat drug. I said, I didn't know you used it because it's not working. And I used him as, he's begging me not to use his name, so I won't. But he's a very successful guy. He's actually a pretty well-known guy, brilliant business guy, worth a lot of money. And he checked. He just, he said, well, how come in London I just sent out and I'm paying $87, and in New York I'm paying $1,300? I said, because that's the way the prices are rigged. And it's rigged. The whole world is rigged against us. And I said, but you know what? You brought it out better than anybody could bring it out, because I've been looking at it. They all said it was impossible to do. And I went to the drug companies. I said, well, it's not going to be any more. You're going to raise their price a little bit. You're going to lower ours a lot, because the world is bigger than us. So it really worked that way. And they said, well, we'll do it. They were very unhappy, but they knew I wouldn't get it from the countries, because you had to get it from the countries. Then I went to France. I said to a very nice man named Emmanuel Macron, I said, Emmanuel, you got to raise your prices on drugs. Of course I will not do that. Why would I do that? Because it's unfair. We're paying 10 times more than you, and you're going to have to raise them a little bit. We're going to drop ours a lot. He said, no, I will not do that. I said, yes, you will. He said, I will not do that. I said, yes, you will. We're putting a 100% tariff on all wines and champagnes coming into the United States. He said, yes, I will do that. I promise. And I had the same conversation with Germany, with every country, with UK. Every single one of them within 5 minutes agreed to do it. Nobody could believe it. And they agreed to raise their price, and we have gotten the biggest price reductions in the history of drugs, medical. Nobody's ever seen anything like it. So instead of paying $1,300, you'll be paying about $175. Nobody's ever done that before. And this is on many, many drugs. A pill that sells for $10 in London and selling for $150 in Texas, or any place, it's all the same in the United States. They basically discriminated. So now instead of $10, it goes to $20, because again, the world is a big place. And we would bring ours down to 20, from like 150 down to 20. This is the kind of price reductions you're getting. Go to Trump.com, by the way. And I didn't name it. That was Bobby Kennedy that did it with Dr. Oz. Everyone thinks I named it. I did not name it, but that site is through the roof. And these are the biggest price reductions in the history of our country for anything having to do with drugs, prescription medicine. So that alone should win the midterms. And there's a real chance that they would end it, because they're totally controlled by these foreign countries, the Democrats. So starting next week, weight loss drugs will be available for just $50. Think of that. For seniors who previously had to pay $1,200, $1,300, $1,400, couldn't pay it. Think of that. Now, they don't want to write. Look, they turn the cameras off when I talk about it, because they don't want good stuff for us, because they don't want us to win elections. And why, I don't know. Why they want to have people pouring into our country, why they want to have high taxes, why they want to have all of these problems that took place over the last 4 years of the last administration, one of the worst administrations in history. But the other ones wouldn't be much better, because they have all of these crazy policies. They've gone communist. But just over 1 year ago, we inherited the worst border in history, but I quickly turned it into the most secure border in the history of our country by far. Almost nobody is able to get in. And in the past 13 months, and this is a chart kept by generally Democrat people, in the past 13 months, 0 illegal aliens have been admitted into the United States. Think of that. 0. And even I find that hard to believe, but it's 0. I mean, they'd love to have it be high, but we can't do that. We have a country, and we're going to run it well. We don't want to have prisons released into our... Some of these countries were emptying their prisons into the United States of America through the southern border. Prison population. Some of the countries had no prison population left. You know what that saves them? Some of them had no mental institutions. The mental institutions were taken. All of those people were taken to our southern border and allowed to just walk freely into our country under Sleepy Joe Biden and his group of thugs, their group of real thugs. Weaponization, that's all they're good at, weaponization and cheating on elections. In 2025, we achieved the largest drop in the murder rate ever recorded in the history of our country, despite the fact that we haven't gotten all of these criminals out of our country. We had the lowest since 1900, that's 125 years ago. And we cut the flow of fentanyl across our border by 56%. That's a big number. And we cut the flow of illegal drugs coming in by water, coming in by ocean or sea. We cut it by 97%. 97%. It's very drastic, but people aren't traveling that way too much anymore. We have the most powerful. I built the military in my first term. We used it in my second term, more than I thought, but we have no choice. We have no choice. But think of it. We cut fentanyl. For years, they've been interdicting. They've been grabbing boats, bringing them in, putting them in court. They go out by the same night. They're back sending drugs by the ocean, by the Gulf, by the sea. And now it's down 97%. And we're looking for the 3%, because I think those 3% are more brave than Bo Nickel was any day. The 3% of the people that are willing to get into a boat to deliver drugs now, they are the bravest people perhaps anywhere in the world. But it won't happen long. But what we've done is amazing. Our military, we have the greatest military in the world. We have the greatest law enforcement in the world. And we have the highest number of recruiting. So a year and a half ago, it was headlines. Nobody wanted to join the military, the Army, Navy, Marine. Nobody wanted to join any of them. Air Force, Space Force. I love Space Force. Coast Guard. Nobody wanted to join any of the military. They had tremendous recruitment problems. And even it carried over to the police. You have great police here. The police and the fire departments. Nobody wanted to do anything with the name America, anything with the uniform. And today, we have the highest recruitment, the most successful recruitment. Every single slot is filled. And that includes, they want to be policemen and they want to be firemen and women. So we went from the least successful in our history, David, to the most successful in the history in terms of recruitment. It was very embarrassing. A year and a half ago, 2 years ago, and it all happened from November 5th. That's when we won the election. From November 5th on, everybody wants to be a soldier. Everybody wants to be in the Army, the Navy, the Marines. They want to fly the jets in the Air Force. The Coast Guard is hot. Everything's hot. And, of course, Air Force. You know, I started Air Force. That was a part of the Air Force. The Space Force was part of the Air Force. I said, no, it's got to be separate. Got to do its own thing. And it's become. So we were in third place 4 or 5 years ago, and I put it in. We were losing to China and to Russia, and now we're totally ahead of both of them, like at numbers that they can't believe. Space Force is going to end up being one of your most important. To stop the massive theft of taxpayer dollars, including millions of illegals, we've launched the war on fraud, led by our great Vice President, J.D. Vance. He's doing a great job. Doing a great job. Smart guy. We ended Medicaid for illegal immigrants, and we redirected $50 billion to make the largest investment in rural health in the history of our country, hospitals and everything else in the rural areas. And with the help of our Republican majorities in Congress, we will defend our jobs, our factories, our safety, and we will defend our borders like never before. We will crush violent crime, impose harsh new penalties on dangerous repeat offenders that shouldn't be in our country, crack down on Marxist prosecutors and judges, and we will immediately end the most dangerous thing that's ever been put into our country from the standpoint of law enforcement. Is called no cash bail. You kill someone, you go to the judge, they let you out, then you kill somebody in the afternoon. It's crazy. That was the beginning of crime. We will pass the great health care plan to stop all payments to big insurance companies and give the money directly to the people so they can buy their own health care, which will be much better care at a much lower cost. And we will pass the Save America Act to protect our sacred American election. And in the Save America Act, it's very simple. All voters must show a photo, voter ID. Very nice. May we see a picture, please? All voters must provide proof of citizenship. And there will be no mail-in ballots except for illness, disability, military deployment, or travel. And we will also, in that same bill, enshrine in permanent law no men in women's sports and no transgender surgery for our children. So together with the help of patriots throughout Pennsylvania and all across the land, we will make America powerful again. We will make America wealthy again. We will make America healthy again. It's all happening. It's all happening. We will make America strong again. We will make America proud again. We will make America safe again. And we will make America great again. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you, Pennsylvania.
I'm sure you will find